Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome to another edition of NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, man. It's the AFC NFC Conference Championship weekend, man. The season is drawing closer to an end, but we have lots of football to talk about, man. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple coaches, right? Newly hired coach Jim Harbaugh to the LA Chargers. We're going to talk about him and what it looks like for the Chargers in the future. Also, Bill Belichick still has not received a job offer. What is the league telling him right now? Will he coach in 2024? Will he have to sit out and wait till 2025? I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. Also, I got to break down the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games, man. You guys don't want to miss out on that. And finally, my clutch picks of the week as we get close to the Super Bowl. So listen up, wake up, get the sleep out your eyes, pour your little drink, a cup of coffee, do whatever you got to do, but sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. You know what to do. Let's go. Welcome in, man. Hope you guys are doing okay. It's a Sunday morning, conference championship weekend. Like I always say, man, in the last couple of weeks, especially when the playoff starts, it's exciting, but again, it's like, dude, the season is almost over, and it's like, oh man, what am I gonna do with the rest of my Sundays, the rest of the year? But nonetheless, man, we'll keep coming in here and doing this show for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoy. But listen up. So before we get started, man, make sure if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, head over there right now. If you're watching it on the YouTube channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, head over to the Grid Network as well. We have a list of numerous of other content creators. They're here in the sports world doing their thing. So you guys want to, go ahead and partake in that, please do so. I would appreciate that. So, all right, let's get down to business here. So the LA Chargers have hired a new head coach, right? Brandon Staley got the boot, a couple games left in the year. The interim finished it out. And now a new man, a Michigan man, has come to the West Coast. Jim Harbaugh was hired earlier this week to be the next man in LA for the Chargers. Now, what does that mean for the Chargers? Okay, well, let's just give a little bit of history of the Chargers, right? Even going back away from San Diego. They've always been this fun, cutesy type of team that, especially in San Diego when I used to live there, people got behind that team. Now they left, went down the road to LA. Now they're the LA Chargers, and still, they've always boasted some of the best talented players on any roster in the National Football League. But for whatever reason, luck, I don't know, maybe leadership, management, lack of thereof, they just have not been able to get over the hump per se. Now, they've gone through a couple coaches the last couple of years now. Brandon Staley, what was the other guy? Anthony Lynn a couple of years ago as well. It really hasn't worked out for them. I think one or two playoff appearances in the last couple of years or so. And given the amount of talent on this team, including especially the quarterback, right? One of the best young quarterbacks out there, really has not been able to been put on display the way probably Charger fans probably feel that he should be, right? They had the meltdown last year against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then they didn't make the playoffs this year, and now here comes Jim Harbaugh. So, Charger fans, it's exciting news for you. I'm excited for you guys, right? But you got to know a couple things about Jim Harbaugh, what you're getting. Number one, okay, you're going to get a no-nonsense type of attitude, okay, which I like, all right? This guy is going to come in. He's going to make your team legitimately a lot tougher day one, okay? Any team he's been on, you can go back, look at his track record, even all the way back when he coached the University of San Diego, the Toreros, right? Up in La Jolla, California, San Diego, part of San Diego. Then he moves on to Stanford. Then he moves on to the 49ers, right? Goes to Michigan. It's always been the same. His teams are tough, and they run the football. Now, don't expect him to come in here and ask Justin Herbert to do a lot more than what he's done already. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to ask him to do less. Less is better in this situation. He is going to commit to the run game for sure. That's what he's always done. That's where he's been successful, right? You even look back, he hasn't really had great quarterbacks other than Andrew Luck in his whole coaching career, right? He had guys like Josh Johnson back in the day when Josh Johnson was at the University of San Diego. Then he goes to Stanford again and gets Andrew Luck. Of course, he goes to the 49ers, get Colin Kaepernick. He hasn't really had great talent. This is probably the most talented quarterback he has ever had, arguably, I would say, right? I think most of us would agree. So, again, mental toughness, you're going to run the football. Now, the flip side of this, and this is where, he kind of gets hung up a lot, he will annoy you. And the owners in the Spanos, they haven't been, let's just say they haven't been graded as one of the best owners in all of football. But I will say this, they recognize that, we got to make some type of drastic change. And this is what they did. So the Spanos family, understand this guy will annoy you, right? This is one of his downfalls, I would say, is as a coach, is that after time, he will get on your nerves, right? He will wear you out. In most cases, that's what he's done everywhere he's been, with the exception maybe of like San Diego, because he elevated himself, and maybe Michigan. But I think to some capacity, his time was running out of there anyway, given all of the sanctions that were coming their way. He was suspended on 5-6 games this year, broken up into two different situations. He knew that possibly more was coming, and he got out of there. He kind of pulled a Pete Carroll. And speaking of Pete Carroll, he's looking to become part of a very exclusive list of coaches that have won a national championship and a Super Bowl championship, right? Jimmy Johnson, Pete Carroll, Barry Switzer, which an asterisk, because really Barry Switzer just kind of walked into that situation, right? Now, does he have the team to do it? Absolutely. Now, people are more concerned about the cap space with the Chargers. I will say this about the cap space. Yes, I think they're like second, right, with the least amount of cap space, right? They have no funds. However, though, there are some moves that can be made that maybe will free up some money, okay? Starting with guys like Mike Williams. Unfortunately, great talent, never available, always hurt. Got to cut him. Got to do something with him. That will free up some ends there, right? Khalil Mack, I believe. So I like Khalil Mack. I still think he's a viable edge rusher. He's a really good edge rusher. I would say that, but he's not worth the money that they're paying him at this point. And I feel like you can move off of him if you need to. So those two guys alone will be able to free up some cap space there in order for them to maneuver themselves a little bit. Okay. Because listen, offensively, I mean, like I said, maybe go back. Offensive line shouldn't be no problems. And like I always say on this show, you got to have your offensive line and defensive line shored up, and for the most part, they're okay. Now, if I was looking at them from a defensive lineman standpoint, maybe some interior guys, they're going to need to bolster up on that. But they got some pieces there, I would say, that Jim Harbaugh could work with. So not all hope is lost, I would say. I think that they are in a good spot, and I think Jim Harbaugh is an adult enough of a coach to go in there and do what he needs to do to be successful in his first year. Now, do they get to the Super Bowl? No, I don't know if they'll do all that, but this team will be a lot better prepared mentally. Like I said before, they'll be a lot tougher. Okay. And I feel like they're going to do less. I think they're going to take the ball out of Justin Herbert a little bit less, right? Which is okay. Okay. Run the football, let him play, and we'll see what happens with them. But this is a good hire for the Chargers. They needed it. And listen, it's about time, because listen, every year since he's been at Michigan, Jim Harbaugh's name has come up for some NFL job. It was only a matter of time, and it's kind of befitting, because he's walking out of leaving Michigan in a better state than he found it. He won him a national championship. Just walk off, man, and move on. So I never saw him as the type to stay in college forever, right? I think he is an NFL head coach. And I think he just needed to take a step back, go back home to Michigan where he played at. And now he's going back to a team that he used to play for back in the 90s and be the quarterback for the San Diego Chargers back then, but now is the head coach of the LA Chargers. So there you have it. All right. If you're in the room watching, man, be sure you check me out, man. Drop a comment for me. Let me know what you guys thinking right now. What else is going on? Any other coaching changes? I know there's a bunch of other coaching changes out there, but let me know what's going on. All right. Let's talk about another coach. Okay, let's talk about another coach. Bill Belichick right now is 0 for 5, I believe, in coaching vacancies, right? Other teams have passed up on him. Now he has two more shots with the Commanders and Seattle. Now, I haven't really heard a lot about coming out of those camps. I know Atlanta, he did interview with Atlanta. They had some interest in him, but they decided to go with Raheem Morris, right? Defense coordinator from the Rams, who has some history with Atlanta back in the day, and Arthur Blank. Um, but the league has spoken. Here's the thing with Bill Belichick, okay? Well, number one, the league is a lot different now from when Bill Belichick was out in the market. See, Belichick is like the guy that's been married like 25 years and somehow gets a divorce, right? He don't know the game. He don't know the streets. He don't know how to maneuver out there. He has no idea on what's cool, where the ladies are at, where they're hanging out at. He has no idea because he's been married 20 something years. Okay. He's been getting the same trim for 25 years. Now he doesn't even know how to even go out about it, right? Does he like, oh, do I still go and pick up girls at the supermarket? I don't know, right? He doesn't know. Okay. You look at NFL coaching rosters, it is so integral. They got analytics guys, they got information guys, and they're all feeding this information through the coaches, the GMs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. His staffs are very limited. He only has guys on his staff that he has worked with for a numerous amount of years. Maybe they played for him, and I get it. This happens in other teams as well, but he's very strict on who he has on his coaching staff. So if I'm not mistaken, he has some of the least amount of coaches on his staff versus other teams, right? He likes to control all of it. Now, most NFL teams, like I said, they have all these analytics guys, information driven type of data guys, right? He's not into that. Okay. So he's going into these interviews and probably teams are asking him like, well, here's the thing, Bill, like, we just want you to coach. We don't need you being the GM. He can't do that. That's why it's not going to work. It didn't work with the Cowboys. The Cowboys stayed put. Okay. Which we all knew that probably wasn't going to work anyway. Right. The Falcons probably kicked the tires. Let's look at your track record. You haven't really been able to really develop anyone over a course of time. Tom Brady's your only guy that we can really say legitimately where he's been able to actually develop. And that's kind of like an asterisk in itself. Okay. His coaches have all gone on to pretty much suck. All right. He hasn't, and like I said, he hasn't developed coaches, hasn't really developed players. Now, the guys that he's brought into his system, they worked, right? But again, since without Brady, not so much. Okay. So if I'm an owner and I'm looking at this and I'm like, do I really want to relinquish all control of my team to Bill Belichick? I get it. He's won the Super Bowls. He's a mastermind. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. I think he's one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen in professional sports, but I think his time is coming to an end. All right. I think he's out of date. I think he has to kind of reinvigorate, kind of go through a renaissance per se, because right now people are just not feeling Bill Belichick. They're just not. The fact that they went with Raheem Morris. Now, mind you, he's a good coach. He's got some head coaching experience. I believe was it in Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. Right? He goes over to LA. Fires up that defense as well. So I'm not downing that hire. Okay, I think maybe he's a little bit more flexible. Raheem Morris just wants to be a coach. Well, Bill Belichick wants to be everything, and really, that's not his best suit. I think if he was just a football coach and you paired him with a really good GM, then then we can talk. But as it stands right now, if I'm an owner, I can't have this guy doing both. Can't. It just hasn't worked out for him. Literally, off the top of your head, think of anybody that he's drafted that has gone. I mean, it's a very short list. Okay, Gronk comes to mind, right? Gronk, and Hernandez. Now we all know how that worked out, right? I mean, character issues, the guy, and that's an understatement when I say character issues, right? But other than that, offensively, who has he developed? Now he's put out some really good defensive players. I'll give him that, but his inability to draft a wide receiver has always hurt him in the end. But he's always had Brady to back him up and support that. And look what happened in the end. Like Brady leaves, Mac Jones is stuck with who? They went and got Juju. Their big signing this year was Juju Smith-Schuster. That was their big signing this year. And the Chiefs were willing to be like, hey, yeah, we're not gonna resign him. You could take him. We're good here. We're good. So I don't know. But the league has spoken. I think he's got two more chances. He's got like I said, the Seahawks and the Commanders. Um, and I don't even think those teams are even interested in him, to be honest with you. His best bet was probably Atlanta. And Atlanta, I think, is interesting because they do got some offensive talent. I think that would have been a nice little pairing there because he could have helped that defense out a little bit better, right? Because they got talent. Their biggest problem though is quarterback, and so they go with another defensive guy in Raheem Morris. We'll see who he brings in and what they do at the quarterback position. But this was definitely it's been a telltale sign that the NFL is kind of like, we like you, we respect you, but I think it's it. I think it's it for him. And I don't think he comes back. Honestly, I mean, people are talking about 2025. I mean, there's always head coaching jobs in the National Football League for sure. And there might be a team that's willing to give him the keys to the kingdom and say, you can coach and you can be the GM, de facto GM. But this year, I just don't see it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens to him. Maybe him and Nick Saban can just kind of ride off into the sunset, and then that'll be it. But I mean, who's he going to bring with him too? That's the other thing. Like, if I'm a team, do I want him bringing Josh McDaniels on the staff? Hell no. Josh McDaniels probably don't need to be in the NFL anymore, honestly. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, moving on. Quick show today. Let's talk about some games. All right, let's talk about the AFC and the NFC. Now, the NFC game is in the evening time at 3:30 my time Pacific, and the AFC game is at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. So you guys do the math on that. So let's go over some keys to winning, some keys to victories per se for both teams. But we'll start with the AFC with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be a good one. I would say I'm probably looking more forward to this one than I am the second game, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. So we're looking at the Chiefs. All right, let's start with them. Hell of a way to finish the year so far, man. I mean, they've been putting up at least like 25, 26 points a game, which is something that was a bit of a struggle for them throughout the course of the year. We've all known and chronicled their offensive woes. Patrick Mahomes has not looked like Patrick Mahomes that we know of, right? These guys are dropping footballs, lining up offsides, right? But these last couple weeks here, I'm reading my notes here, they put together, I was right, 26 and a half points per game, 26 and a half per game in the last 5 games that Patrick Mahomes has started. So they're moving the football, they're being efficient, and what I like too, they're running and passing at the same time with Isaiah Pacheco, who has gone over, I believe, close to 100 yards in the last couple games as well. So as far as this game is concerned, this is a defense they have not seen yet. They have not seen a great defense like this. So a lot of talk is going to be about, their offensive struggles or how can they continue to score. Yes, I think they will be able to get it because I feel like Patrick Mahomes is still just one of those generational talents that you can slow him down, but you just can't stop him, right? I think of only one time I've seen Patrick Mahomes just like literally just shut down, and that was a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. And correct me if I'm wrong, right? But where this game lies, hey, what's up, Tyler? It's going to be on the defensive side for the Chiefs. Really, that's their keys to victory. All right, I think points are going to be at a premium this game for both teams because both defenses are pretty good. Now, obviously, Baltimore's defense is elite, but this game is going to come down to the Chiefs' defense and their ability to slow down the run. That's the blueprint, right? It's all out there. We all know that. Even Ravens fans understand that, right? To a certain extent, some of them are just, I don't know. I won't say it. But you got to limit Lamar Jackson in the run game. You have to find a way to do that. If he beats you passing, then so be it. But he cannot go off for 100-something yards and be the leading rusher in the game. Can't. So them stopping the run, which they've been pretty good at the last couple of weeks, I will say, right? But again, this is a different type of running attack that people are not used to. So slow down the run game. They have a chance to win this game. And given the fact that I feel like I know the Ravens defense is they're him, right? They're him or them, but I don't see them just completely shutting down Patrick Mahomes. He's just too good for that. So he's gonna find a way to put some points up on the board. Now, will it be a high scoring game? I don't think so. I think it'll be a low scoring game. But again, the keys to victory for or key to victory for the Chiefs is to minimize the running effect of Lamar Jackson. Force him to pass. You force him to pass, you got a better chance. But now if he's got it going both ways, then that's it. That's all she wrote, and the Ravens will be in the Super Bowl. All right. Looking at the Ravens, okay. Again, what's going to boil down to them is that the Ravens can win in multiple facets, which is very interesting for them that they can win in a shootout, they can win in a defensive struggle, right? Um, so for them, again, it's going to boil down to limiting Patrick Mahomes and his magic, right? Because in the end, whoever I think, and I said it in my clutch picks of the week, whoever has the ball last in this game is probably going to be an opportunity to win this game. For sure. For sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. So their offense has been clicking on all cylinders, all right, there, and their defense is but giving up 16 points a game. So they're gonna have to find that balance. But again, if they can somehow limit some of the Mahomes magic, they'll win this game. And especially if they can run the football, they'll be good to go because that's when Lamar Jackson is at his best, right? He didn't win the game last week because he was just throwing darts everywhere. They won that game. Number one, the defense was the driving force or the driving factor, but also he ran the ball effectively. I believe he had like 100 yards on like 12 carries. He's a running back essentially as well too. So and once he's got that going, they got that play action going. He doesn't have to pass, but if you make him a pocket passer, then that's your best chance of winning. That's your best chance. So Ravens, they got to run the football. If they don't run the football, they'll be in trouble. They'll be in trouble. So, but Ravens run that football and continue to play good defense. And so, really, it's simple for the Ravens. I mean, they have a bigger margin of error than Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I picked the Chiefs to win this game. I just cannot, for some reason, can't go against Patrick Mahomes until someone beats him in the playoffs, not in the Super Bowl. I can't go against him right now. And he played really well last week in Buffalo in a harsh environment. So although the Ravens are talented and they are a great team, and Lamar Jackson's playing good, he's probably going to be the MVP. I in my heart, I really can't go against Patrick Mahomes at this point in this juncture. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs to win this game. All right. Second game, NFC Conference Championship game. Got the Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the Lions have kind of escaped a little bit, right? The last 2 weeks. They escaped the Rams, right? The Rams probably should have won that game, right? But nonetheless, they escaped. They let the Buccaneers back in it last week, and they needed the last second heroics there to get the interception to win that game. Now they got a different monster. Now, the 49ers, we'll talk about them in just a second. But as far as keys to victories for the Detroit Lions, their defense is going to have to play a lot better, right? They've given up, 400 yards the last 2 weeks. Can't do that. Can't do that, especially to the Niners. Okay. So they're going to have to find a way to get after Brock Purdy a little bit more, but it's hard to do that because they get the ball out so quick and they run the football so effectively. So they're going to have to, again, starts with the run. You got to slow down the run. Okay. Offensively, you got to feed Jamar Gibbs. This guy has been lighting it up the scoreboard in the last couple of weeks with touchdowns. Amon St. Brown is going to have to be another go-to guy. Now, they're going to be keying in on him, so Sam Laporta might be available. But Jared Goff is going to have to play a really good game. And this is, as long as they continue to stay balanced, this is one of the most balanced teams in the National Football League. They run and pass at the same ratio, which is very hard to defend as a defensive guy because you're like, I don't know, man. Are they going to run? I know this is so obvious, right? But being balanced it always works out for teams in the playoffs. It really does. So those are the keys to victory for them. You're looking at the 49ers. It's simple. They have to play better, especially in the second half. We go back and we go back and look at the last conference championship games. They haven't really produced a lot of points in the second half of those conference championship games in the last 2 years against the Rams and the Eagles. Now, I know last year was a little bit of a situation because they lost their quarterback. Okay. But they cannot play the way they did last week and expect to win this game. The Lions are good enough to go into Santa Clara and beat them because of their balanced attack, right? They're not the Lions are not a pushover team. Now, can I see this game getting out of hand? Yeah, because once if that defense doesn't hold up for the Lions and the Niners get rolling, it's hard for the Lions to get back in the game because of their style of play. That balanced attack, it's out the window. Now they're gonna have to force themselves to throw the football. So if the Niners can get out early and then take that energy from the first half and bring it into the second half, um, then they'll win this game. So and Brock Purdy's gonna have to play better. Now I know he's suiting up, he's activated. We'll see how effective he is. Does that play a role? But Brock Purdy's gonna have to show a lot of people today that he's that dude. Can he get them to the Super Bowl? Despite guys being injured. So, but again, I got the Niners winning this game. I think they're still they're just a better team and they're at home. So we're looking at a Chiefs and Niners Super Bowl, in my opinion. So that's what I'm looking at. So there you have it. Those are the keys to victory for today. Look, real quick clutch picks of the week. I got the Chiefs going on the road. I was 4-0 last week, and I got the Niners winning at home. And we're gonna get a rematch of the 49ers and Kansas City in the next Super Bowl here in Las Vegas in a couple weeks. So February 11th, if I'm not mistaken. So there you have it. We only have one more clutch pick of the week left after today, which is a little bit sad, but there you have it there. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I think the games will be good. I hope they're close today. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to that first matchup between the Ravens and the Chiefs, because those are two really good quarterbacks going at it. It's like watching an artist, right? And not to take away from the other games, but I really feel like I like watching two really good quarterbacks go at it now, and two good defenses. So we'll see how good that defense is today. It's a caveat is that Mahomes hasn't seen a defense like that, but then they haven't seen Mahomes either like that. So what's going to break? What's going to break? We've always seen that. We saw what happened to the Eagles last year. Oh, this is the best defense in the world. And then he tortures them. So again, I'm not taking anything from the Ravens. They've played a lot of good teams this year and destroyed a lot of good teams, but they haven't played a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. And I'll be fair. I was talking to my good friend this week, and we were talking about Patrick Mahomes a little bit. And, he's kind of like, well, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been great this year, right? And I agree. He hasn't been great because you don't have the talent around him. But what he's done last week, what kind of got me back on the Patrick Mahomes wagon. I was like, you know what? That's tough, man, to go on the road with guys like with a rookie Rashee Rice, no other real true wide receiver out there, and doing what he did is pretty remarkable. And if he does it again this afternoon, I'm not saying he's the MVP this year. I think it's going to go to Lamar just because of de facto, but and plus Lamar, he's played well enough to win it, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But we'll see. But that's all I got, man. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Make sure you guys tune in next week, Sunday. We'll be breaking down the actual game between whoever wins today, right? And we'll get you guys ready for another show. Maybe some other more news and notes will be out there for this week, but some more storylines. Maybe I'll have a couple guests stop by. We'll have to wait and see. And also check out my new video. Coach Clutch is out there right now on YouTube talking about mental toughness with your student athlete or youth athlete. That's very big. We always think about physical and technical skill development, but we always forget about the mental aspect of it for our young athletes. So check that out. That's available right now on YouTube. So other than that, man, hope you guys enjoyed the show. That's all I've got. Like I always say, this is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday. Wake up with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.